What's up, everyone? This is Kai from the Manga Duo Collections here, coming at you with my updated Halloween timeline video. Now, there's going to be a lot of videos I'm going to be remaking exclusive to this YouTube channel that I made on my original one, but with me having better gear and having, a better recording software, because quite literally, that freaking first one I literally recorded that on my PS3 with the freaking iCamera, and I would transfer it to my green USB stick, and then plug it into my computer, and then upload it after that. That's how I did it. Now, if I remember correctly, I believe I could have also uploaded directly from... Like I said, it's been so long since I recorded it like that. It was nuts. It was primitive. But, anyways, this is a remake of my Halloween timeline video, and this is the perfect day for this video to come out because it is Halloween, and Michael Myers is returning home. The evil has come to your little town, Sheriff. So, we're going to be looking at each individual timeline, including the current continuity that they're working on, which we just got the second film out of the 3-film trilogy. Halloween Ends comes out next year, so I'm super excited. Now, when I first made this is before we had any announcement that John Carpenter was going to be involved, that Jamie Lee Curtis was going to be back to play Laurie Strode. At the time, there was a lot of speculation on what this film could be. It could have been Rob Zombie's Halloween 3. It could have been Halloween Resurrection. We did not know what this movie was going to be about. But there was one version of the movie that was going to come out, and then they canned it, and then Blumhouse got the rights to produce the films, and then we had that big news drop that John Carpenter was going to be coming back to the Halloween franchise and was going to do the score and all that. So it was a great time to be excited about Halloween, because unlike a certain hockey mask wearing killer, the frickin' Halloween franchise has never had any issues putting out a new film. I wonder why that is. You tell me in the comments below. So, I figured we should start with the first continuity, the original continuity, what many people call the Jamie Lloyd continuity, or the Cult of Thorn continuity, or the, as I am going to refer to it, the Laurie Strode is dead continuity. So obviously, it starts out with the iconic original Halloween from 1978, John Carpenter's Halloween. And it starts out with the whole famous flashback of, Michael Myers killing his sister Judith, and we had that iconic first-person view camera, and the first-person kill that becomes famous in the slasher genre. And then we move on to about 15 years. And I believe it's 15 years. I could be wrong. And we have probably my favorite Halloween character, other than Michael Myers. Dr. Samuel Loomis, played by the amazing Donald Pleasance. Heading to Smith's Grove Sanitarium with Marion Chambers. Now, when they got there, all the patients are out. Michael's gone. Michael takes the car for himself, drives off to Smith's Grove, and he stops at that shop. He gets himself a mask. Well, first things first, he kills a guy for his coveralls, and then he leaves his hospital gown there. And then he heads to Haddonfield, and he steals a mask, a couple of butcher knives, and some rope. And then we get to the juicy part to when all heck breaks loose in Haddonfield, because the first death is Annie. The second death is Bob. The third death is Linda. And then he finally tries to go after Michael. And then he tries to go after and then he tries to go after Laurie Strode, Tommy Doyle, and Lindsay Wallace. And he's unsuccessful. He almost gets her if it wasn't for Dr. Samuel Loomis, doing the whole infamous, I shot him 6 times! I shot him in the heart! He ain't human! That part where he shoots him 6 times, and, Dr. Samuel Loomis goes out, checks if he's still there, and he's gone. And then, of course, before he goes check if his body's laying on the ground, we have the infamous, was that the boogeyman? In fact, I do believe it was. Then we move on to 1981's Halloween 2. Now, this movie is the start of them making Laurie Strode and Michael Myers to be siblings. It picks up exactly right after the freaking original, which I always watch both movies back to back on Halloween, which I will be doing that actually tonight. It's a tradition that I will always do. And pretty much, all heck breaks loose. The townspeople are angry. They're, throwing rocks and bricks and all kinds of stuff at the Myers house. The cops are trying to do so many different things at once. There's a curfew now, and Dr. Loomis is blamed for letting Michael out. And we all know that this movie takes place in the hospital mostly, and the movie ends with Michael Myers and Dr. Samuel Loomis' apparent death. Then we move on to the third movie of this continuity, which is not Halloween 3. I will be getting to that eventually. Halloween 4, The Return of Michael Myers. This movie is the first movie we have with Jamie Lloyd, played by Danielle Harris. And pretty much Michael escapes from the ambulance that he's in. He goes and he steals coveralls from a mechanic. Dr. Samuel Loomis tries to plead with him to leave that town alone and to leave those poor people alone and to take him instead. And, Michael steals his Dr. Loomis's car. He tries to hitch a ride with these teenagers, and of course, with them being teenagers, they're going to be pretty much not nice. And this old priest comes out and they talk about damnation and all that, and you can't kill damnation. And that was pretty much a metaphor for Michael Myers, because Michael Myers is the embodiment of damnation. And then pretty much, Jamie is having nightmares of Michael Myers and visions and all that. And, it's your, and of course, Michael Myers goes on a killing spree, and then he gets a bunch of bullets in him at the end, and once again, we all think that he's gone, but he's not. And then finally, the fourth film of this timeline. I'm trying to make these plot points short, because I want you guys to watch the movie. I don't want to spoil everything. And then in Halloween 5, The Revenge of Michael Myers. This is when the Cult of Thorn plot really starts. Pretty much, there was a scene that had this guy named Dr. Death, and he was going to be the one to put the thorn symbol on Don Shanks, the actor of Michael Myers in that movie. But for some certain reason, they thought it wouldn't make sense when in Curse of Michael Myers, it's all about that cult and their connection with Michael Myers, and yet that opening scene is a bit too weird and doesn't fit the movie. I don't know. So pretty much this movie picks up right after Halloween 4, and different mask. The mask used in Halloween 1 and Halloween 2 were the same mask. It was a modified 75 Don Post Captain Kirk mask. Halloween 4 was a new mask, and Halloween 5 was another new mask. So unfortunately, there's no continuity between the masks in Halloween 1, 2, 4, and 5. Although with Halloween 4, it's explained it is a new mask because he steals it because his previous mask burned up when the whole hospital exploded in Halloween 2. But anyways, we're pretty much already to 11 minutes, so I wanted to get this train moving here. So Halloween 5 shows us the Man in Black, which is the cult leader, and Michael Myers gets captured in jail, and the Men in Black saves him, and Michael Myers escapes. Now this is where things get a little tricky because there are actually two different cuts of Halloween 6, The Curse of Michael Myers. There's the producer's cut, which is the version I prefer, and then the theatrical cut. No matter what, the Coat of Thorn is pretty much a big part of both movies, but it has a bigger role in Halloween 6 because at the end, Dr. Wynn ends up transferring the symbol to Dr. Loomis, saying it's his turn now, and Dr. Loomis screams while Michael Myers is leaving while wearing the Men in Black outfit. So there's some difference there, and the theatrical version ends with them taking a syringe with some fluid in there and shoving it into Michael Myers' neck. And in this one, we see Jamie Lord die, but she has a child. We see Tommy Doyle, and we see the Strode family. Other members of the Strode family live in the Myers house now, which we all know what happens with that. That's not a good idea. And then Tommy Doyle basically adopts this baby in a way and protects it. And it is Michael Myers' last remaining relative. And now in this movie, it's stated that correction, I believe it's the 5th movie that stated that Michael Myers kills to take care of the rage that's inside him so that he can finally be free from the Curse of Thorn. That's what the Curse of Thorn is that Michael Myers has to kill everyone in his family and then he'll be free. Well, that doesn't happen. Once again, Michael Myers loses, and depending on which version, in the producer's cut of The Curse of Michael Myers, Tommy Doyle uses these runes, and in the theatrical version, he takes these syringes. And I believe, if I remember correctly, he gets knocked in the head by like a baseball bat or like a pipe or something, from what I remember. I haven't seen the theatrical version so long. The version I watch is the producer's cut. So that is the end of Continuity A. Continuity B, which is Halloween 1, Halloween 2, Halloween H2O, and Halloween Resurrection. Now in this one, there's no Coat of Thorn. Jamie Lloyd doesn't exist, although originally H2O was going to be called Halloween 7, and there was going to be a scene to where Laurie learns about Jamie's death, and she kind of has a bit of a moment in the bathroom. I'm not going to say anything because I don't want to make you guys, I don't want to gross you guys out. So pretty much, we all know about Halloween 1 and 2 and how the events goes. So after Halloween 2, instead of her dying in a car crash, along with Mr. Lloyd, who a lot of people theorize it's that ambulance driver that takes a fancy in Laurie, and vice versa in Halloween 2. That was Jamie's father. But in this one, they kind of took inspiration from that, but they made it to where she lived, and now she runs a school in California, a private school, and she hasn't really gotten away from her past. She has a drinking problem, and what happens is Michael Myers ends up coming to find her there by Marion Chambers, because Marion Chambers' show has some information about her in Witness Protection Program, from what I remember about the movie. If I'm wrong, you guys can tell me down below. And then we have a voiceover of Dr. Loomis done by Tom Kane, which it's a shame he's not going to be voice acting anymore. He did a great job as Dr. Loomis. Well, the voice of Dr. Loomis. And Michael Myers finds her in California, and then they have a square off. More people get butchered, and then supposedly Michael dies by getting his head chopped off. Then we move to Halloween Resurrection. My least favorite Halloween movie. We show the fact that Laurie Strode has gotten incarcerated in Smith's Grove because of the fact that she found out that she killed the wrong person. She killed an ambulance driver. And Michael Myers is shown to be wearing the ambulance driver's uniform. And he just walks away. And then pretty much we are greeted, and then Michael finds Laurie. Laurie dies by falling off Smith Grove's sanitarium. And then this is where I wonder where their whole point was. So, they have Busta Rhymes in this video. And what happens is, he decides to host this reality series. This popular online series. And because of it being, the found footage era, they kind of experimented with the found footage stuff in this movie. And Michael Myers is once again is back in his house, which with these people coming in, we all know that Michael Myers doesn't like that. So a lot of them get butchered. And it ends with Michael Myers getting set on fire, much like in Halloween 2. And at the end, it is revealed that he is still alive and kicking. And that's the end of Continuity B. The Laurie Strode in Witness Protection Continuity. There's so many names you can give this continuity. Now this Continuity B was the first retcon continuity that they did. Instead of retconning Halloween 2, they just retconned 4, 5, and 6. And H2O takes place right after Halloween 2, like I said. So, before we get to the Rob Zombie Halloween 1 and 2, let's talk about Halloween 3. It's quite simple. Halloween 3 was made because John Carpenter wanted to take Halloween into a different direction. In his opinion, Michael Myers was dead following Halloween 2, and they were going to do pretty much a anthology movie series to where they take different themes of Halloween. And Halloween season of the Witch really does harken back to the more Celtic days of Halloween. Samhain, which that's not the way that it's actually said, but I'm going to say it because that's what I'm used to calling it. And it goes into witchcraft, and A lot of people hate this movie because of the simple fact it doesn't have Michael Myers. Well, to be honest, this movie's pretty freaking good. I mean, it is very fun. It's a fun movie to watch. I enjoy it. Tom Atkins is great. And then Colonel Cochran is a freaking amazing villain. You know, it's just a fun movie. And this movie, like I said, like I kind of hinted at, this movie is in its own continuity. So this movie has no ties to any of the Halloween movies, except for the fact that on TV they show a short snippet of like John Carpenter's Halloween being played on TV. So based on that, Halloween 3 is meant to take place in our reality. Now we get to the Rob Zombie Halloween 1 and 2. So, Rob Zombie wanted to do when they proposed the idea for a remake, Rob Zombie wanted to split into films to where you had one film that is the origin of Michael Myers, and then you have the other one that is a straight up remake, but they combined the two. And the remake section is pretty much almost exact, it's one for shot, almost exactly like the original film. Just with some slight differences like Annie Living, Dr. Samuel Loomis isn't really that nice of a guy in this continuity. He's more of a money-grubbing a-hole. And then during the beginning part of the movie, we show, Michael's home life, and because of how effed up his whole life is, his mother has a boyfriend who is a complete dickbag. And finally he snaps on Halloween and he, kills his possible stepfather, and then he kills Judith's boyfriend, and then he kills Judith herself, and then he takes Boo, who is Laurie Strode in this continuity, which will eventually shown to be played by Scout Taylor Compton. He takes her outside. Her mother finds out that Michael has butchered everyone in the house while she was gone doing work. And then finally what happens is, unfortunately, something happens that makes Michael snap, and he kills a nurse, and that makes his mother basically, unfortunately, off herself. And then we show Michael Myers older, and he gets out by pretty much killing everyone, including someone that was good to him, and that could have been considered somewhat of a best friend to him and all that. So my opinion about this movie is I do like Rob Zombie's Halloween. I think it's a fun ride. There's a lot of people that don't like it because of how Rob Zombie is with his movies, and the fact that the fact that he remade such a classic film like Halloween, and a lot of horror fans don't like remakes. As for me, I have a open-minded opinion about remakes, because how I got into horror was because of a remake, and that was the Texas Chainsaw Massacre remake. So then we move on to Rob Zombie's Halloween 2. This movie pretty much picks up, I believe, like a year after Michael Myers has disappeared, and we have this weird stuff like with like the whole white horse and all that. I'm not going to get too much into it because it's weird. Then we have a dream sequence that starts up in the beginning to where Michael is going through a hospital, which is meant to be a homage to the original Halloween 2. And Laurie is now living with Annie and her father, and they have disagreements. And Laurie pretty much has an attitude problem. And pretty much this movie ends, depending on the version. I forgot how the two endings go, but trust me on this, the theatrical version and the unrated version has two separate endings. So, I believe he considers the theatrical cut ending as canon. I believe Rob Zombie does. And fun fact, Rob Zombie never wanted to make a second movie. And when he asked John Carpenter about his opinions about him remaking Halloween, John Carpenter actually said to make it his own, and he did. But now John Carpenter's kind of said, well, I don't like it. Which, that's his opinion, but he told Rob Zombie to make it his own, and he did. So I don't know if it's just that it bothered him that he did like a one-for-one remake of the original, and maybe that's what kind of got on his nerves. So yes, Rob Zombie's Halloween 1 and 2 takes place in a separate continuity from the continuity A and B, and of course the Halloween 3 continuity. Now we move on to the current continuity. Now, if you consider the Cult of Thorn to be your definitive canon like I do, you gotta throw all that information out of your brain. Same thing for Continuity B, the Rob Zombie Halloween 1 and 2 continuity. Because Halloween 2018 takes place after the first movie. In this movie, Laurie Strode and Michael Myers are not siblings. And the whole plot about these movies is that the first film shows that Laurie is estranged from her family because she knows that Michael's gonna end up coming back, and and her daughter just had enough, and I guess in a way because of how paranoid Laurie got, she made her daughter's life a living hell. So Michael ends up coming back, soldering people, and then he ends up supposedly burning in Laurie's house. And then Halloween Kills, we pick up immediately after that. And it is shown that Michael has survived, and he slaughters the freaking firefighters. Oh my god, was it brutal. There were some amazing kills in Halloween Kill. They did a great job with the special effects. And there were a lot of brutal kills. And we actually see some returning characters from the original. We see Marion Chambers, played by the same actress who played her in H2O and Halloween 2 and Halloween 1. Then we have the return of the actress for Lindsay Wallace, all grown up. And then we have new actors for Tommy Doyle and a new actor for Lonnie. Now Paul Rudd was actually offered to come back to do the role of Tommy Doyle. Because he played Tommy Doyle in The Curse of Michael Myers, but he couldn't at the time because he was filming another movie. And pretty much, now I will be getting to the controversy that one part of this movie had, which I'll give my own thoughts and opinions about. Pretty much like Halloween 2, there's this whole outrage, and the town people deciding that the police hasn't done crap to bring Michael Myers to justice. They all end up taking matters in their own hands, and they made a innocent man jump off the hospital, which was truly tragic. But yeah. And then at the end of the movie, they end up trying to beat the living crap out of Michael Myers, and Michael Myers just slaughters them. And fun fact, the freaking actor that played Lee Brackett is back in this one. And he even gives his iconic role from the first movie, and he goes, hey Michael, everyone's entitled to one good scare. And Michael ends up killing Laurie's daughter. And we end with Michael staring out the window, and then Laurie staring out of her hospital window, and them pretty much hinting at the fact that the next movie is going to be their final square off. Now, the controversy this movie had, which was dumb, there was this couple in this movie known as Big John and Little John. And they were a married LGBT couple, both dudes. And Michael ends up slaughtering them, which is just what he does. He doesn't see race, he doesn't see color, he doesn't see sexuality. If you are in his way, he's going to get rid of you, and especially if you're in his house. And people started calling Michael Myers homophobic, which is a bunch of BS, because Michael doesn't see that sort of stuff like we do. And people are always trying to bring in real world logic into these movies when Michael Myers doesn't care. Michael Myers isn't just going to walk into his house, see them there, and be like, okay, well, you know, I don't want to seem like I'm hating on you guys for being a part of the LGBT community. So you guys can take the downstairs, I'll take the upstairs. That's fine with me. No. You're freaking in his house, which Michael Myers doesn't like. So I think that controversy is really stupid. People will get outraged over anything nowadays. And the fact of the matter is, too, with the horror genre, they are always doing things to shock and disgust the audience. Make it how you will. Make it what you will. So that is it for this discussion on the Halloween timeline. In case you guys lost me, let me give you the basic rundown of all the continuities. Continuity 1. Halloween 1, Halloween 2, Halloween 4, The Return of Michael Myers, Halloween 5, The Revenge of Michael Myers, and Halloween 6, The Curse of Michael Myers, both the theatrical cut and producer's cut. Continuity 2. Halloween 1, Halloween 2, Halloween H2O, and Halloween Resurrection. Halloween 3. In its own continuity. Rob Zombie's Halloween and Halloween 2. In its own continuity. The current trilogy. The Blumhouse continuity, as I'm calling it. Halloween 2018, Halloween Kills, and Halloween Ends. So if you all have enjoyed this video, definitely make sure to smash that like button, comment, and subscribe, and I'll be seeing you all in the next one. Later, guys, and of course, happy Halloween, and remember, everyone is entitled to one good scare, because who knows, Michael Myers could be out your window right now waiting for his moment, and you guys would have no idea. I'm kidding. Anyways, later, guys.